Ladies, gentlemen, folks beyond the binary, grab your husband, wife, partner, mistress, your glowiest onk, and gather around your radio. It's time for this week's meeting of the Erotic Thriller Club. It's 1995, and you're a centuries-old vampire who really misses his girlfriend. Convinced your true love has been reincarnated in the form of a sexy co-ed, you move to a small college town in Minnesota or wherever. You have 3 days to get her to ditch her boring put of a boyfriend and fall in love with you so you can have eternal life together. So please join us in going back to college and pledging Alpha Delta Stupid. This week on Erotic Thriller Club, Embrace of the Vampire. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's meeting of the Erotic Thriller Club. As always, Garrett Callender and Kit Ryan here.
And this is where we answer the genre's 3 most important questions. Was I aroused? Was I thrilled? And would I ruin my life for this person?
Kit, before we hop into the episode, I did happen to watch the theatrical trailer for this movie, and I think it says a lot about the movie and the way they marketed this movie. So I would like us to go ahead and play that for the listener. There are some title cards within the trailer. It's mostly narration, but I'll read those title cards out loud so you can get the experience with us.
I'm very excited to do this. Yeah, let's.
He was in love with a beautiful maiden, but one night his life changed forever. And now he's forced to roam the night, searching for her. And after centuries, he has found her soul again. She's mine!
In the tradition of home video success, Poison Ivy, Alyssa Milano, in her first revealing role, embrace the suspense.
A man was wearing it. I think he was a vampire.
Embrace the passion.
She must desire him before he can empty her life into his throat.
I've seen you before, in a dream. Spend eternity with me.
Embrace the lust.
Only her soul can save him.
Embrace of the vampire.
Alyssa Milano of Who's the Boss and Double Dragon. Martin Kent of The Craze and Flushstone. Charlotte Lewis of Excessive Force and Decoy. And Academy Award nominee Jennifer Tilly of Bullets Over Broadway and The Getaway.
From the producer of Time Cop, Embrace of the Vampire.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That trailer.
Yep.
The full marketing of this movie, because also most of the movie doesn't matter.
No.
The majority of this movie is let's
Tits.
fill 90 minutes, but
Tits.
we're going to show Alyssa Milano's tits.
Yeah.
That was a trailer where it basically just promised, you're going to see her tits. We swear.
We can't put them in the trailer, but we promise there's tits here.
Remember how horny you got for Drew Barrymore when we did the same thing with Poison Ivy? We're doing it again, but there's a vampire.
But there's a vampire.
This
Uh,
movie,
wowie, wow, wow, wow.
which just so you know, the director of this movie, Anne Gorsad, she was an editor. She edited for Coppola, so she edited The Outsiders, she edited his Dracula, but then she went on to direct, starting with
And
this.
she was like, That Dracula movie was pretty cool, but what
I
if?"
Keanu showed dong. Uh, but then she went on to do this, followed by Poison Ivy 2,
Mm,
starring Alyssa Milano, because why don't you just bring it back with different titties? And then also 9.5 weeks too.
really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh.
So she is within our universe. This
Oh,
director exists
absolutely.
within our universe.
And I
Um,
gotta say, she's good at what she does. Them titties looked great.
They did, but they kind of okay, so they really bum me out, to be honest. Like,
Oh, Garrett.
it's really sad what child stars had to do. I mean, there are movies in theaters right now, like The Substance is in theaters, a lot of nudity, but it also isn't a piece of shit. You can show your tits in a good movie if the main point of the movie is you're gonna show your tits, also show off your acting chops. Like,
Mm.
make it be a sizzle be like, "I'm gonna make a movie, but I need to see a good script. I will show you my breasts, but then maybe it leads to something else." That being said, fuck me, she did 200 episodes of Charmed or whatever down the road, so
Yeah, this obviously did not harm her career in any way whatsoever. And if she was willing to do it again, for Poison
and
Ivy
again
2, I mean, clearly it didn't, it wasn't that terrible of an experience, right? Hopefully.
well, this wasn't even her first time showing her tits. This was just her first time on film. After a little research, I found out that after Who's the Boss, and she was like, "Where can I show them?" There was some debut magazine called like Bikini World or something. It's like, "We'll gladly show them in the debut issue of Bikini World."
I, Please, will someone look at my goddamn tits? Yes, Alyssa, we
That
will.
some I did see somebody ask Tony Danza, "Did you see the movie?" And I guess he just smirked and never answered.
That's probably for the best.
But I was talking to my wife about this, and she said, "Well, yeah, in the '90s you could do that, and now you have to do whatever it is that JoJo C was doing now."
Yeah, exactly.
Like Christina Aguilera had her dirty phase, but I
Mm.
feel like the ladies in the '90s really had it worse, where like you had to do straight to video trash,
Here's
and it's
my
just
tit.
trash.
I'm an adult.
This
I don't
movie
know.
was a hit, Kit.
Miley Cyrus went through a pretty rough transition into adulthood from child star as well. So like it can
It's
still be
true.
bad.
It's true, but at least I would say the art that was coming out of Miley was better.
You
Though
really
she
like
was, like, kinda hanging out with some predators there. She did, like, a nude photo
Yeah.
shoot with a photographer that was very predatory, and, like, this is all alleged out of me at this point, but, I thought the relationship she had with Wayne Coyne from the Flaming Lips after she turned 18 seemed weird.
Suspect at the very least, yeah.
'Cause he's old. I kinda liked their weird album they put out together, that was fun, but, yeah, this movie cost $500,000 to make, and on home video grossed $15,000,000. So I hope,
Mhm,
because her tits were the selling point of this movie,
mhm.
that she got a lot of back end.
God, I hope so. I mean, I really do hope so because good lord is she doing impressive work in terms of making everybody feel good in their pants.
This maybe it's just what I've got going on in my life personally right now, but was the most aroused I've ever been watching any of the movies.
No, 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 I was the same way, my man. I was the same way.
I hate admitting that because of something that'll come up here in a couple scenes, but I don't this movie I saw on the video shelf forever. Like, this was such a big movie when it came out as far as, like, I watched Who's the Boss growing up. I had a crush on her on Who's the Boss, and there
I
was something
never
about it.
saw it, so it was only, like, a vaguely aware of thing, so I did not have that association with Alyssa Milano. I only associate her with Charmed.
Which is fair, and she had, like, 200 episodes of Who's the Boss, 200 episodes of Charmed, great career, some
Absolutely.
weirdness in between the 2. But we're here to talk about that weirdness, Kit, and
Mhm,
this movie, is dumb and shitty and stupid as it
mhm.
is a '90s treasure box. It's just
Abso-fucking-lutely.
a treasure chest of '90s schlock. Like, this movie brought me so much joy, Kit, just from the opening credits,
Oh my
when it
god.
surprised us with the real title of the movie that none of us knew.
Would you like to expound on that?
The title of this movie forever on the posters, on the box, all
Mhm,
the trailer, Embrace of the Vampire.
mhm,
The
mhm.
title of this movie, when we hit opening credits, The Nosferatu Diaries, Embrace of the
Colon,
Vampire.
colon,
I love a colon.
you know we love a colon. Colon, Embrace of the Vampire, which does imply that this is either like, it implies that this is the first of a series, right? That they're gonna do more Nosferatu Diaries.
I think that in the early to mid '90s, diary stuff was just kinda sexy. There was the Red Shoe Diary. Like,
Ah.
I don't know what it is about a show or a movie opening with somebody writing about all the boners they've had that, like, everybody's like, "This is gonna be hot."
I mean, I was reading a lot of the it was like the Babysitters Club books, but they were like the teen versions where it's written in like diaries from
Mm.
their perspective. I was reading a lot of
Penthouse
those at the
Forum.
time. Yeah, exactly like that. And come to think of it, Coppola's Dracula also has a diary format for Keanu Reeves to give his cute little voiceovers. So, diaries, I guess you're right, they're in.
The diary format for this, though, made for my favorite opening of any movie we've watched so far.
I
The
mean, it
oh, the
started
whole
with such a sexy font too. Like even all the actors' names coming up was trying so hard to get you in the mood.
Do we know what time period this movie started in? Because they just said he's
No.
centuries old. It's been centuries.
I wrote it down as ye olde times.
It's
You
for
know,
sure ye old.
it's the ye olde times where you have hazy lighting and flowers and horses and yeah, oldie
What
times.
do
Corsets.
okay, so our leading man is Martin Kemp.
Yeah.
What do you think of him?
The first thing I wrote about is, who is this man? I am not impressed with or without the open shirt.
That don't impress me much, says Kit.
It don't impress me much. Honestly, I just don't think he has the bod to pull off all of the open shirts. The I'm just gonna wear a vest. I just don't think he has the goods to put on display.
I'm curious how he ended up in this because I agree with you that the fact that we're being thrown into this and I'm supposed to just immediately be on board with it, he's super hot.
Yeah, he's like laying there stretched out, one hand propping up his head
He's
it with a
Titanicing for you, yeah.
come hither sort of stare, and I'm just like, no thanks. I'm gonna keep riding my horse further down to see if I find anyone better.
To me, he's handsome enough that if he were like on Mad Men,
Mm.
that Don Draper is going to give this guy absolute hell for about 4 seasons, and then maybe towards the end of the run of the show, he can finally pitch a soup commercial on his own. But he is going but he is going to be catching hell from more handsome men for several
Absolutely.
seasons in the lead up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm, mhm, mhm. I agree 100%. You know who this guy is though, right?
You mean from
Like
another movie?
no, I mean from his pre-movie life.
No.
Okay, so he was the bass player for the band,
Get
I
out.
guess it's called Spandau Ballet, along with his brother, who was the guitarist and vocalist. You do know one of their songs. It is played at every wedding. Ah, 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 ah,
Get
ah.
the
I
fuck out.
know this much is true. Yes.
Kit, you aren't going to believe me.
What?
But later in my notes, because, like, he just keeps appearing out of places and usually wearing a leather vest, and I wrote in my notes, "He looks like the bassist of the shittiest '80s band you've ever heard." I'm not get
Shut the fuck up!
I
Oh my
am
god!
absolutely blown away by this revelation.
Garrett, you fucking nailed it!
Like, I
You fucking got it in one!
like, I can send you a photo of my notes to show you. That is verbatim what I wrote when he appeared out of that closet in that leather vest. Oh my god. So he was like, so if I knew that going in and knew that he played an instrument and that he had a hit song
Uh-huh.
that was in Adam Sandler's The Wedding Singer,
Uh-huh.
then maybe he's a little more fuckable.
Here's the thing though, it's not like he's a lead singer, he's the bassist. Like, come on now.
I always I know I'm gonna lose some bassists in this podcast, unfortunately. I'm sorry, guys. I bust balls, but I had a roommate who was a bassist, and I would always bust his balls about being a bassist. And I remember saying, like, if one instrument could be taken away from Blink 182 and it still sound the same, which one would it be? And
I
he would always
mean
get so mad. I loved him.
I
It was
mean
a goof.
there are great bass players throughout history. I'm not sure that like the bass is a crucial part even to that song. That is the only one anyone knows.
But does him playing bass make him more fuckable than being the drummer of that band?
Here's the thing about drummers, if we're actually getting into this. Like the joke is that they hide the ugliest member of the band in the back and he plays the drums. However, I've always found that drummers have a little bit of that like the sexy hot scale, right? Like or not the sexy, the crazy to hotness pipeline, where if they're a little bit off, they're actually really good at fucking. I find that that can be true for drummers as well. They're not always completely got it all going on up there. They're a little nuts, but number 1, good rhythm.
It's
Number
just
2,
you're like, they don't
no,
have it all going on because their inner monologue is just
I feel like drummers can be sexy. It just depends on the vibe you want. Obviously everybody wants the lead guitarist, but like I don't know. I feel like there's something going on for drummers too.
But so this guy, do we even know if he did the background vocals on the ah 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 ahs?
I have no idea.
Hmm. Well, God damn it. Let's get into this opening scene that I love so much because we're already like 20 goddamn minutes into this podcast. I,
Oh man.
so the opening scene of this movie, you talked about his come hither look. We see his beautiful girlfriend on a horsey, majestic, riding, slow motion, beautiful.
We already know right off the bat we're in trouble. This guy's in trouble. Horse girl.
Turns out she wasn't the problem though, but like she kind of was because she got in his head for
She got
centuries.
in his head for centuries.
They didn't fuck. She's a virgin. He's big. This vampire's big into virgins,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, but she disappears into the woods. He's just having a nap in like a
I
real magical land.
understand exactly how it is that he just falls asleep in the middle of the woods when he didn't even have sex. Like, what is your excuse for just like, "Oh, I guess I'll fall asleep in this field of flowers that's also a bridge?"
I'm guessing there was a nice breeze. This movie does take place like they filmed it in Minnesota, so I assume that's maybe where I'm supposed to be. He was next to a creek. There was the nice tinkling of the creek. I bet that was
Mhm,
soothing. It
mhm,
was
mhm.
probably warm. He was in the shade. I'm saying like he was also just sitting there thinking about his love.
Mm. And
He's
then
obsessed.
wakes up. It's the middle of the night, and there's three porn stars crawling all over him, which is not
Yeah,
the worst way to wake up.
yeah. He just kind of wakes up and is suddenly in a foursome with three strangers. Who my favorite part of this scene, I have a few thoughts about this scene because you're right. Like my first thought, and I did look them up, a couple of them were like Playboy models, which very fucking clear because I'm centuries in the past, kid.
Mhm, mhm,
And I have
mhm.
now come upon six fake tits in the woods.
Not to mention their acrylic nails.
What year did breast implants become a thing?
I
Because I'm guessing
believe
it wasn't like 1600.
Garrett shows what you know. It was 1434 when they would first put little bags of sand into. You just cut right in there, and you just put a little extra meat in there.
I don't know if you're fucking with me because you know a lot of facts.
No, I'm fucking on you with you on that one. No, I have
Because I
no
was,
idea. It does seem like the kind of thing I would know, though.
it really does. But they come and they put this magic glowing onk on him and start like not really fucking him, but just dry humping him. And
Hmm.
he doesn't try and fight it
Oh God,
because
no.
I feel like even his love would be like, what happened? If she saw video, she'd be like, this isn't on you, but you did wake up confused. But like, I don't know. I don't know how angry like you're kind
I
of being assaulted, but like
He's kind of being well. Here's the thing, though, is like we also know, like once they've put the Ankh on him, we know the Ankh has some sort of suggestive properties, so it's possible he's like hypnotized or
mm,
something like that. Um,
I
although he could be still be forgiven if he was fully in control of his senses. He never took his pants off. He didn't do anything, you know, they shouldn't.
yeah. And I was trying to put myself in this situation to decide because like we were
Mm,
kind of back to the Dance with Death or Strip. Did we watch Strip to Kill or Dance with Death? We watched Dance with Death.
dance with death.
They were all like very Dance with Death 90s
Hmm.
boobs. They all
Very.
looked the exact same,
Mhm.
and that was kind of
Big
cool.
and round and lovely.
But if I put myself in his situation, I'm in like the 1600s or whenever in maybe Minnesota, I don't know. Um, those ladies would have smelled like shit. They were so glistening, Kit, and they would have smelled so bad.
You don't know that just because they've been walking through the woods naked.
Looked hot. I just
Garrett, everyone smelled like shit back then. He had no frame of reference.
but me transported from now to then.
Oh, if it's just Garrett transported back in time, yeah, it might be a little distracting for you.
The locker room talk. They were so hot, guys. There were six fake boobs. It was 1400. They smelled terrible. They smelled like they had been walking barefoot. They were like, I mean,
Garrett,
maybe actual shit on them. I don't.
I can just picture you staring at them though and being like, How do you have fake tits?"
I mean, like, what year is this? I don't understand. So this sets up though. They bite the shit out of him,
Yeah, they're more
and
eating him than they are sucking his blood. They look like they're chowing down.
he gets a lot of bites, and it cuts back him into him in this room in modern day, And he is writing this where it's just funny that this many centuries later, he's like, I should probably pin that down.
Mm,
Like, because I'm
mhm.
gonna, in case I forget, my memory could slip over these
Or
years.
I might die in 3 days, and people are gonna wanna know about this really sexy thing that happened to me after I'm dead.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna ask you to see if you understood the plot of this movie. Not
Mhm.
really. I understood the plot, but I didn't understand the why.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
There was a
yeah.
big problem with the why.
There is. I worry that my brain has filled in too many gaps and done the work for the writers of like
Yeah.
making it make sense after the fact. Because I don't think they really explain it within the text.
So do you wanna hit the listeners with kind of what the story is now that we're in modern
Okay,
times? Like,
as I understand it, he has been pining for this girl, horse girl, throughout the centuries. For whatever reason, he didn't just like still go be with her. Did they make that clear why he didn't just like yeah, he's a vampire, but you can still like go get your girl.
the most explanation like, that doesn't get explained, and then he's like, "And now I found out she's been reincarnated in a small college." That's it. She like, we don't know why, she's at a small college now, and it's
They
Alyssa Milano.
really like just blaze through this. They're like, let's get through the exposition. We got titties to get in here. So yeah, he loved her so much throughout the centuries, and he never got to have sex with her. So he needs to have her join him in eternity within 3 days, or he will die. I don't know why or how. Something about like holding on to the love has made it's not clear. Listen, he has 3 days to fuck this bitch and turn her into a vampire, or he's going to die. He's literally going to die without sex.
My theory, because I just started thinking a lot about mental health, because this guy's insane.
Mhm.
The amount of time he's been alive has definitely started to drive him mad. We don't even know that the
Mm.
actual soul of this woman is in Alyssa Milano. He just has it in his fucking head.
He
And
found the only college virgin, and who is really hot, and he's like, that's the one, that's my love.
and Kit, I will say this, suicide is never the answer.
So true.
Unless
Unless
you are 1,000 years old weirdo, you can't die, or like you can't just die naturally. I
Mhm.
think he gave himself a 3-day timer where he's like, if I can't close the deal by her birthday, I'm going to just kill myself and put myself out of my misery,
No, he
which
was saying
solves
that
a lot of
he's
problems for
he's
everybody.
I know, he was saying that he's getting weaker as the 3 days pass, and
He's so
that
backed up with cum. He has 1,000 years of cum. This is a whole movie of wet dreams, Kit.
Garrett, are you telling me that
It is
you
90
think
minutes of people having wet
no,
dreams.
stop. You think this man did not have sex in that 1,000 years?
I think he did some kissing and some heavy petting, but I think that he's saving his
No.
release for a virgin.
No. No. He fucked other people. It's just none of them meant anything to him.
Do who would wanna fuck him?
Well, I don't know, but he hypnotizes people, so
That's
presumably he
true.
can get them that way.
This movie made me realize that vampires just have really good PR. Like, vampires are just I'm supposed to believe they're inherently sexy.
Yep, yep, yep.
And this guy's desperate and weird and pale, and every time he touches Alyssa Milano, it makes this sound.
Honestly, Alyssa Milano has two men both vying for her virginity. It's very important for both of them, and both of them are basically begging her for sex. And it is pathetic. Both
It's
of them are equally pathetic.
for sure. For sure. This lady just like and she makes it clear like she tells her boyfriend, "I'm not saving myself for marriage. I'm just don't want to have sex with you right now."
Yeah. she's like, I'm waiting, to make sure it's the right person. And I'm not the right person. Not if you keep whining.
Like, the opening, though, after we get through him in the diary, like, he keeps giving the vampire keeps seducing Alyssa Milano into wet dreams, which I guess are real, but
And
she
don't worry about that too
don't
much.
worry about it. Yeah, it's all pretend, maybe, but
Who
she
cares?
passes out in, like, a nightie thing,
She's wearing this.
upside down and backwards on some stairs.
Yeah, like the most sexy position you could fall down the stairs in is what they have carefully arranged her in. So she's like walking through the night to go to him. She's being called, right, hypnotically to his presence. And she goes up into this tower. And every time she reaches the top of a set of stairs or a ladder, her skirt blows in
Mhm.
just the right way to give you the upskirt. And I just started cackling. I could not stop thinking about some guy whose job it was to hold like a leaf blower. And every time Alyssa Milano got to the top of the stairs, he had to.
I knew an old special effects man who, like, did any kind of special effects for so many movies between, like, the '60s up until, I mean, probably he's still going, I would imagine, if he's still with us. I haven't seen him in a long time. But he would, like, the special effects would range between doing shit for Fast and Furious, and, he was just like, "Name a director." I've probably done something for him, and I said, "John Hughes." And he said, "Breakfast Club." And, I said, "What special effects were in Breakfast Club?" He's like, "Do you remember a scene where, like, papers are, like, falling from the ceiling?" He's like, "I threw them." And
Way to go, dude! You threw him real
and
good.
this seems like totally a thing he would have had to do, is blow a leaf blower at Alyssa Milano.
To make sure you get just the right hint of panty and ass as she is making her way up to
Hey,
her vampire.
laugh as much as you want, it was hot.
It was. I'm not denying it. It's. I couldn't stop thinking about the guy just off screen.
Them having to cut the verm verm sound.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, when you think about it, her walking up those stairs so confidently and sexy, and she was able to act past
Mhm.
the sound of the leaf blower.
Which just
So
goes to show what a professional she is.
Charmed is in her future. Charmed.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Syndication money.
Mhm. But yeah, you definitely get. I wrote down that this guy is giving real. What do you mean we couldn't get Nick Cage vibes?
Yes, Kit. Yes. I wrote that too.
Did you
He
really?
absolutely looks like '90s Nick Cage in these scenes with the leather jacket, like maybe even specifically Nick Cage in like Face Off or something. He might be dressed the exact same
Yeah, it's
with
definitely
the
a look we've
slicks.
seen Nick Cage wear with the slicked back hair, the dark colored vest, the red shirt underneath. Like we've definitely seen this look. Somebody was like,
The-
"What if Vampires Kiss had more boobies?"
yeah, it really is just like every 10 minutes you have to have seen Alyssa Milano's boobs after we see them the first time 10 minutes in.
Mhm.
And it's mostly just this vampire being like, "And now you will dream, and somebody will tear your shirt open to reveal." They kept their end of the bargain on that trailer, Kit.
Honestly, it's true. They did not. It was not a bait and switch. It was not like, sorry, you get like a brief shot of boobies and then never again. No, no, no. They deliver the goods. But yeah. So
Somebody somebody in a meeting's like, "Yeah, but is somebody gonna suck and lick on him?" He's like, "Throughout the
oh,
whole
don't
movie,
worry.
don't
Don't worry
worry,
about it.
we'll get you." "What about biting? Somebody gonna bite one?" "Yes,
Absolutely,
somebody gets to
sir.
bite one."
So yeah, he's like, "Oh, I could turn her right now into a vampire and take her virginity. But I don't want her to be in love with her boyfriend when I do. Cuz then she would love him for eternity, kind of like he loved Horse Girl for eternity."
Mhm.
And so he's like, I'm gonna give it as much time as I have. And then you hear his voiceover just say, 3 days.
This movie is a real portrait of what it's like to be a lady in the world. You just always have men that you don't want fighting over you.
Yeah, all they really want is your virginity, I guess. Um, so yeah, he gives himself 3 days to break them up. So there you go. How to lose a guy in 10 days.
What's the line that he says multiple times and it was in the trailer? Something about like, "I have 3 days before I fill my mouth with
Mhm.
your life juice."
Your life juice or whatever. But yeah, so she, after being hypnotized, her nothing burger of a boyfriend, Chris, gets like a bad feeling and rushes over and sees her like splayed out artfully on the dorm steps and carries her in. And then we start to learn who actually is this girl, because before all we know is she may or may not be a reincarnated virgin.
Were you concerned how not concerned he was that his girlfriend was passed out upside down on some steps in the middle of the night
Yeah,
outdoors, and he just,
yeah.
like, carried her into bed? Like, I would, 1, wake her up,
Yeah. Well, it
maybe
seemed like
even
he
go
was
ahead and take
having.
her to the hospital.
Yeah, I was definitely like, why aren't you calling an ambulance? Especially since he seemed like he was trying to wake her up and she was kind of like still out of it. I'd be like, oh shit, something
Small
is
town,
not
no
right.
ambulances.
Oh, well, then get in your car.
I just like that it's just thousand-year-old vampire at the local community college.
Mm, mm,
He's just like I like that they specify, like, "She's at a small college." Like
hmm.
it's so stupid, kid. It's so fucking stupid.
It's really dumb. So we find out the next morning that she's a very good girl who was raised in a convent because her dad was promiscuous and didn't stick around with her mom, and her mom, for whatever reason, gave her to some nuns to raise and saw her like every other weekend or something.
A line that I was like, "Chris, I'm with you. Every girl I've ever been with, I've always said, I wish you would get be as promiscuous as your dad." And it's yeah, so we don't know what happened to him, but it's like, what did she's like, "His promiscuity killed him." Does he have AIDS?
It's
Did he die in
unclear.
a tragic roadhead accident? Like, in
He was trying to recreate the Jeep scene from the what was the last one we just saw?
Revenge.
From Revenge. He was trying to recreate the Jeep scene and ended up dead on a very twisty mountain pass.
But
Or
he died
like,
doing what he loved.
yeah, good for him. But yeah, so we get to watch, even as she's like getting dressed, we get to see
Mm,
a little bit of side boob, and that is
then
quite
full,
lovely. Then full, and
but
meanwhile, boyfriend's not allowed to look, and he's a loser, and he spends this entire time begging and wheedling her for sex. And we find out that in 3 days, it is also her 18th birthday.
Ah! I hate it.
Birthday. Hey, Garrett. You know who else was a 17-year-old their freshman year of college and a virgin?
Get the fuck out.
Abso-fucking-lutely. That was
You went
me.
to Catholic school too.
I did. I mean, I didn't get raised in a convent, but I did go to Catholic school from 2nd to 8th grade. I went to public high school, so, like, I was aware what sex was. I just
Did you
wasn't
have
having it.
some real fucking losers pining for you freshman year that you're like, "I don't like my options?"
Yes, actually. Yes, I did.
Oh, yeah.
But like I had a similar mindset to her of like, well, I'm gonna wait until I know that I've been with a guy that like long enough, right? That I want that I know that I really want to do it. And um that didn't happen obviously my first year at college, uh because there were losers. They were some of them were lovely people, but nobody there their first like semester at college is looking for like a relationship. You are meeting so many people at once. No one is going to be like, and let's you and me date for a year starting now.
That was me. I don't think my brain didn't have it in me for like one night stands. It's actually funny looking back on my college experience how many like times it was like, "No, thank you. I'm going to go hang out with my friends." That I'm like, "What were you doing, you
You
fucking idiot?"
moron. No, and here's the thing. It was like I didn't get a ton of attention from guys until I was about 18 because I looked younger than everyone else. I was younger than everyone else, so I didn't like attract that kind of attention all that much. Um and so when I started to realize like, hey, I can attract men. I didn't even realize at the time that I could even be interested in attracting women. That thought hadn't popped into my head. If I had seen this movie like my freshman year of college, Garrett, I might not even be a little bit straight. I might have gone full blown like absolutely men are disgusting pigs and women are real pretty.
You didn't say anything not true.
But yeah, everybody wants her precious virginity as soon as she turns 18. It's real cute.
I hated how much they're like, it's not even that she's barely legal. They give us barely illegal, and they're like, "And you're going to look at her naked the whole movie." I don't like I know she's in her 20s when we filmed this, but it's really, really icky to me that, like, we immediately are like, you're looking at her and you're like, "Eh," and then they're like, "And she's underage," and you're like, "What? Fuck you."
Right, but like as when I was 17 and a freshman in college, I was deeply hurt and offended by the idea that like people might not be attracted to me. Like I wanted people to want to look at my breasts.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying the way this movie was made is like a
Yes.
37-year-old man, like, supposed to be oogling a 17-year-old is gross.
Yeah, especially when that man is actually like 2000 years old.
Yeah. And what's funny is that's the least of his problems. Like, his personality sucks.
He's not that hot.
He's the bassist of a one-hit wonder. Like, he really
He doesn't seem to be good at anything. Like
Like, I went to a party and the guy from Marcy Playground wouldn't stop trying to go down on me.
honestly, it's just like he he's not good at this. He doesn't look I don't know why they didn't get a more attractive actor. I kept thinking like why isn't this like get Angel from Buffy in here, right? Like get a sexier vampire. Get one of them hottie True Blood guys in here and this would be sizzling. All of it would be incredible. But he's such a I no. Oh my god, if I had the two guys from True Blood fighting over me, uh totally hot. These two
Skarsgård
losers?
would have been a baby when this came out.
Get an equivalent Skarsgård.
There's a million of them. At this
They're
point, get fucking
everywhere.
Stellan. He
Get
would
a
have been.
Skarsgård. Bring a Skarsgård in here right now and have him wear a vest.
Uh, so, I mean, I don't want to go scene to scene in this movie because most of the scenes don't matter.
No, it's just a whole series of like, and you're dreaming about fucking me, and you're dreaming about fucking me.
Did you have a
She's
favorite dreaming about fucking her scene?
yes, obviously, I fucking did care, it, and I'll
Yeah.
mention it when we get there. Uh, but yeah, so point is,
Whoa, you did the shutter. You did his.
I can't help it. Um, but yeah, so she's dorm mates with a couple of girls who are relevant. There's the
One is
girl.
Mary
The girl
Jane from Half Baked.
Who
from The
is?
Craft.
Oh, the girl from The Craft. Yeah, that's what I knew her from. Who gets done dirty by this movie, let's be honest. Like, she doesn't deserve her fate, and no one ever
No.
acknowledges it.
She had the weirdest death that I'm guessing in a writer's room, somebody's like, "This is gonna look fucking sick." And on camera, it was dumb as shit. This is
It's
the
really
dumbest
bad.
kill we've seen in any movie. It
Any
looks
movie.
so fucking stupid.
Yeah. But she's introduced like telling these like this hilarious story about their mutual friend Erica, who has an accidental answering machine sex tape. Love that for her. Uh, and we get a nice little rundown of second wave feminism right here, where uh, the girl who had the accidental answering machine recorded message sex tape calls another girl a slut.
Yeah.
And then Alyssa Milano's like, "That's not nice. Why would you do that?" And she's like, "Oh, so the virgin is defending the slut?" And it's like, yes, that's called second wave feminism. That women should do with their bodies as they please. And that they're allowed to either like sex or not want to have sex. We'll get into more stuff in third wave feminism. But for now, we're really focused on the sex part.
So, I think everybody we mentioned almost dies, and I wanna go through, like, a couple of the kills because nothing they do in this movie matters.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
literally nothing matters in this movie, but the death that we talked about, Mary Jane from Half Baked, I don't remember her character's name in The Craft, but she ends up in, I guess they're in, like, some sort of sports building. It also seems like an empty warehouse, but maybe where, like,
It
the
was one of those
baseball teams practice and hits? I don't
I
know.
was gonna say it was one of those empty warehouses you fill with nets, obviously. A net warehouse.
It
And I want to point out that this girl has done very bad friend etiquette leading up to this. She goes and grabs her friend from the college party that they're hanging out at that has really nice chairs for some reason, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Girl, I need you to be my wingman." And she's like, all right. And so she takes her to a fucking warehouse, pawns her off onto some guy she's never met before, and it's like, you don't have to do anything you don't want to. Bye. I'm gonna go make out over here. And it's like, you just took your friend away from the party
To
to
get raped in a
to get
warehouse.
raped in a warehouse. That is bad friend etiquette.
The best thing this vampire does, because for real, the guy she pawns him off on immediately tries to rape her.
It does not even try to
Like,
like.
I don't even
He's
know
like,
if they're out of earshot yet.
He's like, "Hey, you wanna fuck?" And she's like, "Not really." And he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it anyway."
Luckily, this is maybe the nicest thing the vampire does the whole movie is just quickly break his neck. I was hoping for the movie doesn't even really have good kills. Like
No.
the movie, like the truly the focus of this movie is Alyssa Milano's breast. This movie is kind of thrillless. Like there's never a moment where you're scared, where you're worried for anybody. You don't care about anything. Um but then when she goes to kill Mary Jane, he's on one side of the net, she's on the other, and he essentially bites her as they're on opposite sides of a soccer net.
Yes.
And
And she's like, "Oh, I can't get free because I'm tangled in the net." And I'm like, "You obviously can get free of that. What the fuck are you talking about? You are not trapped here."
honestly have a good chance of getting away because he's stuck in a net.
He's stuck on the other side of a net. You will never have a better chance of getting away from him because he also doesn't show himself as having like super speed, super strength. Like he can jump up into the rafters and he can break your neck, but like he's not
At
all
the
that
end,
special.
at the very end of the movie, though, we do find out he has a power out of
Oh
nowhere,
yeah,
which is like he like Kamehamehas somebody in
yeah.
like
He fucking
Mortal
shoots out.
Kombat, shoots electricity out of his hands.
Yes. And where did what you had that power the entire time?
Oh, I
Apparently.
didn't need it.
But yeah. Oh, I forgot. I actually wrote this down. I should have said. The guy who's trying to rape Alyssa Milano actually does start off with like a "How you doing?"
After swinging on a rope swing.
Yeah, yeah. He really thought that was going somewhere for him. But yeah. So I don't. It wasn't clear if the friend actually dies from the net bite or if she's turned into a vampire because we see her again later in one of the sex dream hallucination things, but it's not clear if that's really happening because also Alyssa Milano has just been dosed with X. And so as everyone knows, when you take ecstasy, you get like you feel really hot and music sounds different and you start hallucinating giant orgies.
The orgy looked kind of fun.
It did.
That looked like a good day at the office.
Yeah.
Just
Um,
everybody pair up, start
you know,
kissing.
it's really funny because like so there's a random guy named Milo who shows up a couple times and he's like hitting on Alyssa Milano at this college party and uh he hands her like they make a specific point out of she's like, "Yeah, I want a soda." And he's like, "Let me go get you a soda." And he comes back with an opened drink and hands it to her. And I'm like, oh no, girl, no. And so when Alyssa Milano's in like a trance after that, like being led up to the rooftop to go see the vampire, I'm like, is this the power of the Ankh? Is she hypnotized? Or is this fucking Rohypnol? Like, I don't know what's having this effect here.
I have woken up. Have we ever talked about me getting roofied on this show? Has that been in an episode yet?
I don't think so. Hey,
Have
we've
you?
both been roofied? Fun.
What was your experience? I hope not horror, like not
No, I
scary.
was thankfully with people that I trusted the entire night. It was stupid. It was actually at a rap party for a show that John was working on. I won't name it because I don't want to, I'm not exactly sure how it happened, who did it, but like there was I had someone grab me a drink from the bar. I thought like all these people, I've not met all of them, but they're all John's coworkers, right? Like nothing to be concerned about. And so somebody handed me a drink. I drank it. Um, and then parts of the night kept disappearing on me. Like I would, I remember like we're running to get to a cab to go somewhere else, and I suddenly was like, I don't know how I'm here. Holy shit! And then like there's like a lost time and then like I'm in a bathroom and I'm like, why am I here? And then like we're in a club and like I did not understand how any of this was happening, and thankfully I was
Well,
with
you're
John.
with your partner the whole
Yes,
time,
I was
so
with John the whole time. I was with some of his like his intern who was a really sweet girl and her girlfriend were both there. Like I was safe the whole time, but it was really scary to like keep losing chunks of time like that. And so finally I was like, "John, I don't feel good. We have to go home." And I had not had that much to drink. I had just had that one drink and then one more, and there was no reason based on the alcohol for me to be losing chunks of time. And no matter how like I've gotten real wasted and I've never lost chunks of time like that before. So yeah, be safe out there, people. Garrett, what's your experience?
I was at a bar in our college town, and this was like school let out. I was there for the summer, and we were there for a
We had some great summers.
we did.
Those were fun times.
I was at a reunion for the radio station that I worked at the time, which the radio station WIDB in Carbondale, where Bob Odenkirk got his start.
Hell
That's
yeah.
actually, yeah, he mentions it like first chapter of his book. But we were at the reunion for that. We were at a My girlfriend and I were at a bar. I had had one drink and started drinking a second drink. And then just like I could feel the room getting weird, where I'm like, I am a large enough man that 1 1/4 drinks does not make me feel this way.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to my girlfriend, "Something's wrong. I need to go home." And she and I don't know why, didn't even think to call a cab. Walked about a
Oh,
mile or 2 home.
Garrett, no.
She was with me, and I remember her saying, "Do you want me to come in with you?" Because we were neighbors. And I said, "No." And that's the last thing I remember, and I woke up the next morning naked, covered in slices of bread.
You did not.
I was raped by a baker. No,
Garrett,
it's a.
stop it.
I think back then I would eat what I called an error sandwich or an air sandwich. You fucked
Uh-huh.
up and drank too much, so you just eat bread to absorb the alcohol. And
Oh,
I think
sure.
I yeah, error or air. And I think like there was like bread on my ass. Like I would
So clearly you tried to sober yourself up and fell asleep in a, a loaf.
yeah, fell asleep in a just a loaf of bread. I ended up being okay. Don't worry. The next day I took mushrooms with some old guys and swam in a pool, and it was like it
Bless.
never happened.
Aw, that's lovely. Yeah, be safe out there, people. Always make sure you don't accept drinks that you didn't see somebody pour, right? That like or come from someone you actually trust, not some random coworker. You
It
know.
had to have been somebody trying to get my girlfriend's drink and got mine.
Yeah, sad as that is. Yeah,
I'm
that is
not
almost
handsome enough
certainly.
to like want to drag home.
Aw, Garrett, I'd rape you.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I think if you did that to me, you trying to drag my body, you are a small human. You trying to drag my body 2 miles, which maybe you would have been like, he needs to get in the cab because the cab driver's never going to think that you're the bad
Oh,
guy.
they'll never suspect me. No, Garrett, I wouldn't do that. I would not do that for so many reasons, not least among them, I respect you.
Honestly, I think you're canceled.
No, fuck! It was a joke! Well, alright, so meanwhile, Chris, the shitty boyfriend, is having a weird cuck dream.
Hates it. He hates the cuck
Hates the
dreams.
cuck dreams. And Alyssa Milano gets a cuck dream later too, because the vampire's planting these things to try to like drive them apart and make them doubt each other.
And he
Um,
won't just fucking kill this guy and be like, I'm
no,
all that's left. Last option. He's noble
yeah, I don't know
ish.
why. Well, because maybe she would try to find his reincarnated soul like 6 centuries from now.
Oh, that's a long wait.
Yeah, it is a long wait. So yeah, he goes and gets coffee at a bar, and the vampire's also at the bar, like sitting across from him, like he's gonna give him some life advice. Oh, you think you learn everything from books? And I'm like, is the vampire telling him he should drop out of college and start a business in his garage? Like, what are we doing here?
He's here for some sort of Ankh pyramid scheme
Oh
where he's, please buy my door to door jewelry.
yes, it glows. And you do a little bit get the vibe. In fact, it's not just the vibe. Like the boyfriend actually says, like, I'm not gay. Because like the vampire's kind of hitting on him. And by the way, we do keep saying the vampire because he has no name in the movie. Even the credits list him as the vampire.
I listed him through my notes as just the Dracula.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Also, I want to point out that like this guy is like a part-time vampire because he calls it quits at midnight every night. And when you only are active after dark, that gives you 4, 5, 6 hours max to work with. And so I don't understand why, no matter what he's doing, like what sexy dream he's giving you, what hypnotism, what trying to hit you up in a bar he's doing, it always ends at midnight. He's like, I'm done.
Well, I don't know if you remember this just as far since we're a sexy podcast. Do you remember USA Up All Night?
No, I do not.
You remember the USA Network, like
Yes.
the television station.
Yeah.
After midnight, it would become all like sexy stuff and like booby movies
Ah,
and but yeah, USA Up All Night 1995. Yeah, that was a big deal. He had to get home and catch it. He can only watch it till the sun comes up.
so true. Oh, that's really funny.
Like this was prime that time. This movie probably now USA Up All Night usually played more like funny booby movies, like where some guys
Mm,
have to work at a ski resort and like you're
hmm.
pulling a lady's top off with a like a fishing line.
Yeah,
That's like a movie that would have played on there, not this. This
Um,
is late night Cinemax.
All right, so then the weirdest digression in the movie happens yet. And I don't think this is the vampire's influence. I think this is just girl, closeted, naive girl goes to college experience. Their dorm mate, Sarah.
She's a predator.
How dare you, Garrett? She is not. She is a photographer. She is the one she is the person that the mean girl was calling a slut because she always has a different hot guy or girl coming out of her room, and they think that she is yeah, a slut. Uh but instead what happens is, without a doubt, the sexiest scene in any movie we've ever watched. And I don't know if you had the same feeling I did, but I was definitely thinking, why the fuck is this movie still going? We're done. We did it. She found who she should be with. It's this lady. It
Yeah. The scene is really like you're right. It's super hot. It's super hot. We get this lesbian photography scene. However, the lady is a terrible fucking photographer. Most of these shots she's taking, she is 2 inches from her face. Like, if we
Garrett,
saw the actual
Garrett,
photographs
why
taken
is
in this
that?
scene,
Why is that what you're paying attention to? What is wrong with you?
Kit, I watched this movie fucking twice in 24 hours. The first time I had a boner. The second time I'm paying attention to, oh, those photos are too close.
Oh my god. No, so first of all, I don't know how it is that everybody here has these gigantic dorm rooms. She has a Alyssa
Huge.
Milano has a double bed, and Sarah has a whole ass photography studio in her dorm room. The
I'm
point
in
is,
college trying to have sex on a twin bed. You can't even,
yeah,
like,
whatever.
comfortably, like, have an after cuddle in one of those.
Absolutely not. So she's just the little touches in this scene are so good. She's unbuttoning. Oh, can I just unbutton the one button of your shirt? Okay, why don't you take your overall strap down? Okay, and then she's like gently unbuttoning the shirt, and the way she softly arranges Alyssa Milano's hair, gently rolls down her stockings. Holy fucking shit, Garrett. This rivals Bound. I'm pretty sure the Wachowskis saw this movie and then saw Jennifer Tilly later in this movie, and they were like, what if she had been in that scene and then made Bound? And thank you for doing that.
It was very good, and it was, once again, I don't remember if Alyssa Milano ever takes her own shirt off in this movie. It is 95% of the time people just ripping her tits out of her shirt. But yes, it happens again because, this Anne Gorsad found that that is the best way to reveal them, and she's right.
I mean, the only time I think that she takes her own shirt off is when she is literally getting dressed in the morning in the first scene, and we see that side boob.
There is a scene earlier where she does get her shirt ripped off in one of the wet dreams, and she wakes up in bed and her tits are out, and she's just like, "Ah!" and,
Ah,
like, puts them
ah, shit.
no, great scene though. The great scene. Like, this scene is
It
so
moves.
softcore porn and so,
Oh my
like,
god. Sh
gentle. Nobody's biting at her this time. No one's, like,
No.
aggressively licking her.
No, it just starts going in so gently and then kissing, and then we cut away or no, we don't cut away. She's suddenly like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I've got to go." Why? Why do you have to go, Alyssa Milano? Don't go.
Because she's a virgin. She's a virgin.
Oh,
She like, this her sex day is going to have to be planned a week in advance. And a spur of
yeah,
the moment sex with a lady photographer was not on the bingo card for the day.
I guess. So we cut over to Chris, who's got the dumbest roommate of all time. Why do you always clean up before Charlotte comes over? Uh, duh. What? What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, you're whipped. No? I just want my place to not look like a fucking pigsty before my girlfriend comes over, you weirdo. Um, but she can't come over tonight, even though, you know, this is the night before her birthday that we're already at. So, like, he really wants to bang her at midnight when it's officially legal. And, she can't come over tonight. She calls. I wish she had said, I can't come over tonight. I'm gay now. But she didn't say that.
And I will not be explaining further.
I will not.
I like though that the aunt gradually gets her to start dressing sexier, where she's like, I've
Yeah.
actually had these knee-high boots the whole time.
Not to mention this dark lipstick. Yeah, absolutely.
We After she's sexy though, and then the mean blonde girl roofies her and everything. The best kill of this movie. I'll actually tell you more. There's a scene more erotic than the one you just named, and you know
Yeah,
goddamn well which
I
one it
do.
is.
I do. I do. I
So let's kill this lady, this
know.
blonde lady that's
Mhm.
harassing Alyssa Milano through a door. She's been
Mhm.
harassing her this whole movie,
Mhm.
and her vampire boyfriend is on the other side of the door, smashes her head against it, and
Yep.
the caption, if you had the captions on,
Mhm.
were "bang squish." Not joking, bang squish, and there's
Ooh.
blood all over the door. And my first thought was, "There's a whole bunch of drink there for you. Why don't you get that?" Get what
And
happens?
then he does.
Approximately 60 full seconds of this.
Of him just licking the door. And I kept thinking, if it were anyone else but him, this could be sexy. It's so bad with him doing it. If it were Skarsgård, right? If it were Alexander Skarsgård
Mm.
from True Blood licking that fucking door, I would have come just from watching it. 100%. But it is this balding man with nothing going on for him, who just has been like whining this whole time about how he really needs to fuck this virgin. And I've already seen a way hotter woman do a way better job. This is bad. This is terrible. Garrett, it's not. It's anti-sexy.
You don't think that scene got him some dates after this movie came out?
The guy seems like he's got skills with the tongue. What do you want from me?
Looks like he was writing the alphabet on that wall. You know, he's when you said Skarsgård doing it though, it's kind
You
of
did
sucks that we don't
picture.
release this as a video podcast because my eyes just went like I
Mhm.
didn't consider it, and no joke, like I felt just a little bit of blood rush. Like it was
Yeah, yep, exactly. No, don't forget, we have the actual sexy scene of the imagined threesome.
photographer, doofy boyfriend, and a vampire.
Hmm.
It's a foursome. They're all on her, biting
That's
boobs,
true.
licking boobs, kissing.
You
Um,
you see a little bit of male cheek, but that's all you're gonna get, guys. Sorry if you're into the male
vampire with
body.
pretty hairy butt.
Yeah. I want to point out she also fantasizes her, it's she's got like so she fantasizes that she's got the girl coming up and the guy coming up and they're touching her and kissing her, and then you realize that her boyfriend has one earring, and it was so distracting to me. This very 90s thing. The only clothes he's not a stitch on except for this one big gold earring. I realized later he doesn't have an earring in real life. She fantasized him with the one earring.
Well, everyone wants their boyfriend to be a little bit like Harrison Ford. Just in that she just picked the weirdest part of Harrison Ford.
um So, point is, she imagines these two kissing her. It's so hot. She's on this giant bed. She's wrapped in a thin gold chain that she's pulling on. It's
Mhm.
extremely sexy.
Yeah.
And then the Dracula pops up between her legs, and I literally laughed out loud. Surprise! Oh, it absolutely ruined the moment. It was fucking hilarious. I loved it. Uh it was perfect.
Honest to God, all that really happens between this and the end of this movie is the vampire finally takes her to a room, and the boyfriend has to run up the longest series of attic ladders.
Well, hold on. You can't forget Jennifer Tilly.
You can though, because it doesn't matter. Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't come back. It doesn't matter.
they
Like,
put her really prominently in the trailer we just watched, but it is a very small role. She comes up to the boyfriend at a bar, and in her extraordinarily sexy voice, asks him to dance. And he does, and she takes him out of the bar and starts trying to fuck him on some stairs. And in the worst display of temptation I've ever seen, keeps saying, "Forget about her. If you doubt her, it won't hurt so much." There's nothing that would convince me less to cheat on my girlfriend than you in your sexy voice telling me it's okay, cheat on your girlfriend. This is
well,
not
it's
good.
so all of the lady vampires in this movie have a tattoo on their tit of a knife.
Yeah.
And Jennifer Tilly's looked like it was drawn on with a Sharpie quickly by me before they filmed this scene. Like, I am a terrible artist, and if they look like they said, "Garrett, you have 3 minutes, make it look good." And you know why they had 3 minutes? Because this movie was filmed in 13 days.
Wow. They got a lot done really quickly, huh?
But yeah, that like who why so there are other vampires in this world. There's kind
I
of a lot,
guess.
maybe,
I d
but they don't you don't see teeth because they didn't have the Fang budget. So they had the Sharpie budget to draw on titties.
I
Like, I
liked
don't
it because it reminded me of in Bound, the very sexy scene where they're talking about Jennifer Tilly's tattoos, and I'm like, "I wish we were doing that scene instead," because, people love to talk about, Jennifer Tilly's tattoos and then lick them. People love it.
Yeah, I mean, the end of this movie, they're in an attic. He runs up a whole bunch of stairs, attic ladders to get to her. He
Mhm.
comes in, there's a weird, you know, fucking pale guy hissing at him, and they have like a little scuffle, but basically Alyssa Milano won't tell him she loves him, so
Nope, she
she
keeps
gets
saying, "Chris, Chris," and I'm like, "Shouldn't don't you mean Sarah? Sarah? Hot photographer?"
that she's gonna realize later that that was like buried deep down, but that
Down inside. I mean, there are actually 2 other cute little mini scenes with the photographer before the movie ends. There's, like, are in the hallway, and, Sarah apologizes. She's like, I'm sorry about earlier." And Alyssa Milano says, "Oh, it's okay. Let me see the photos when they're done." And they share this cute little smile. It's very flirtatious. I loved it. And then when she's going through her "I'm a bad girl, the Ankh has made me dress in a red dress with knee-high boots," obviously, she starts she takes Sarah into her room and starts feeling her up, and actually puts her fingers in Sarah's, like, over the clothes, do we call that heavy petting? And it's extraordinarily hot, but
you're
then
blushing, like you're getting
I
flustered.
am, I'm getting a little flustered. But then she bites her, and I guess she wasn't into that. Cuz Sarah walks out pretty quickly that she was not into that. Uh
Yeah, Alyssa Milano's a virgin,
she doesn't know how to do
and
this yet.
for the last hour, all we've seen is people biting at her tits. So,
Mm,
like, she doesn't know what to do. She thinks that, like, heavy petting is you bite somebody. That's
that's
all
a good
she
point.
knows.
Yeah.
Weirdest
Yeah.
closing to the movie, though. Vampire disappears.
Yeah,
It
he zaps, Chris.
uses
Chris
his
is laying on the
Kamehamehas him.
ground, and then the extreme sexiness of both Chris and the vampire laying on the floor, kind of groaning and looking miserable, as the vampire, I guess, slowly dies of sadness or whatever.
But it ends on a laugh where she's like, "Hey, Chris, it's my birthday."
Bow, bow, bow,
And then
bow.
the vampire just wastes away in his room next to his diary in the Nosferatu pose, your two hands opened up, crossed with like your hands on your face. He's just, God
Yep, yep,
damn it.
yep, yep. It,
I'm never gonna come.
famous last words. I'm never gonna come. So wait, does that imply that Alyssa Milano's first time after all this buildup is actually going to be in this gross ass clock tower with a man who was just electrocuted?
No, 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 no. I mean, you can think that because the movie's stupid, but I think the kind of lady she is, as much as she doesn't want to admit it, she's still a little religious. Like, she's still a little prudish. Not really even prudish. She just doesn't want to bang Chris. But she
Wait, rightly
probably
so,
go back to
I
her bed.
say. You think it's been a long night.
She's gonna take a shower too.
She better.
I don't want to smell like a 1400s woods nymph. Wash your ass, woods nymph. Wash your
uh,
ass.
I just it is such a letdown of an ending, I have to say, because you go from getting so hyped up on all this sexy shit to she's laying there with her dress riding up, and there's two men who both want to take her virginity, and
And Kit.
yeah.
You're on the side doing Nosferatu hands too, like
And they both look pathetic. The movie went out of its way to show them both like, oh, I don't feel so good.
honestly, when you look at those two men, the rapist from earlier starts to look a little more promising.
I mean, you're not wrong. Even Milo, fucking Milo, is starting to look like a snack.
He was a good guy and he knew some stuff.
Yeah, he seemed like he was a pretty decent guy. He knew stuff about Onks. He was like asking her questions about her jewelry and paying attention to her. He was
He
doing a
could
good
hold a
job.
conversation that wasn't about banging Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, he didn't in fact know how to say things other than "Excuse me, can we fuck now?" I've waited so long to have
Oh.
sex with you. Why won't you have sex with me?
Sad
No, I know.
for
Garrett,
everybody.
Garrett, were you in this situation ever where you've been dating a girl for a long time and you're waiting for her to say she's ready to have sex with you?
Mm, no.
No?
I'm irresistible, kid. I'm Alyssa Milano in a relationship. Like, I'm the one that, like, you gotta wine and dine me before you're 69 in me, ma'am.
Oh,
Like, you
damn.
gotta. No, I guess I didn't find this. I don't know. I guess I did relate more. I'm only half joking. I yeah, like I was always for sure can only do this if I'm in love.
Mm, I definitely thought that too. For sure. I dated a guy that I for like a year. Turns out it's a really good thing I didn't have sex with him because he was cheating on me. With his
Sick.
ex. I know. Really cool. And so I'm really glad I didn't lose my virginity to him. That would have sucked. Instead, I sort of realized when I was 19 that I wanted to have sex, I didn't want to actually wait until I was in love. I just wanted it to be a nice time. So I started dating a guy that summer, and he wanted to have sex, and so did I. I didn't even tell him I was a virgin. Uh, I was just like, "Hey, let's go slow our first time together," and he was like, "Yeah, yeah, sure." And it was lovely. I mean, we'd been seeing each other and dating for like 2 weeks, and I'm really glad I did it that way. To be honest, it took a lot of the pressure off of like, oh, it has to be the first time after we've been dating for 2 years or whatever, and it needs to be magical. No, it was just a really fun, nice time.
I like mine was, I would guess, nice too. The second time was nicer than the first time. The first time, honestly, pretty embarrassing. Came like instantly. Instantly.
Oh, good for
Like I don't like I mean, I remember it, but like I wonder if I am over exaggerating in my head how short of a time that was,
you.
because in my brain it's 2 seconds. And then like oh, intense shame washing over me. And then it's like, well, we can try again. And then it just immediately happening again. The second time was nicer. The first time was like I really needed to get out of the way the
Did you?
the excitement.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense. I'm assuming you were with someone who was understanding about that particular thing.
Yeah, they were very kind and understanding. Like I wasn't like mocked afterwards, though I should have been. Um,
Were
but
you both virgins?
I don't believe they were.
Okay.
I don't believe she was. Um, but I remember when it happened again, there was a look on my face, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I don't remember why it came out this way, but just in Spanish, dos veces.
God damn it, Garrett. I will share with you one of my triumphs though. Like one of the best I've ever felt about myself is, so I had just been fucking this guy during the end credits of like, I think we were watching No Country for Old Men, and we were just laying out there naked, and I got a call from my ex-boyfriend while I'm literally lying and naked in bed with the guy that I'm fucking instead. And that felt good. And he was like, "Can you come over? I need to talk with you, please." And I was like, "Oh, fucking fine." So I put my clothes on and went over, and he's over there crying and like asking me to take him back. And I was like, "No." And I'm kind of seeing someone else now. And uh when he realized I had lost my virginity to someone else, I feel like I could watch his heart crack in half.
He started to shrivel up like this vampire, and the hands go
Yes.
into the Nosferatu pose
Yes.
on the face, and he's just like, "I wanted to come."
Well, you shouldn't have cheated on me then, dipshit. So yeah, I felt really satisfied with my life choices in that moment. It felt really good for him to just be like, "Oh, but I miss you, but I'm so sad." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't actually care. Like, never call me again."
I do like that the movie that was playing was No Country, like, at least there's, like, some nice scores, it's a little quiet.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um,
We
the
had had
movie in the
a
background for me was 28 Days Later, so it was just, like, me, like,
Oh. Oh, that's really funny. No, it was it meant we were having a deep conversation about his relationship with his father while we were laying there naked afterwards.
I like that you get a deep conversation and I'm just on my back and it's just like, "It's okay, it's fine."
No, that wasn't the first time. That was the second time we had sex, was with No Country. The first time it
Was
was
with
much.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
It was absolutely. How did you know? Were you watching?
Also a great score.
Okay, I think it's time,
It's
Garrett.
time.
This is a dumb question. Were you aroused?
Yeah, I was watching this alone late, and I was just I'll say most of these movies, I know I've said this before, when I watch them and like we say like yes, it was I was aroused, like it's mostly a goof, like these movies are like mostly pretty tame.
Mhm.
This one just did it for me, man.
Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
know. I
Mhm.
was just sitting on the couch and I was like
This is doing it.
just sitting alone watching smut with an erection. Here we are. And like it's such a shitty movie.
It's not good, y'all. It's not a good movie. As I mean, like we barely talked about the plot because there really isn't one. It's just like you got 3 days to get her to fuck you. All right,
We have
I guess.
13 days to film 90 minutes of movie and figure out how to make it coherent, but also show boobs. 5. Yeah, you 5.
I mean, I was, as you just pointed out, blushing just describing one of the scenes afterwards. 100%. 5. Wish I could give it higher. 6. 20. It pushed all the right buttons except for if you are into men, this is not gonna probably do it for you as much because the men are lacking. I would say it's lacking in the amount that you see. There's almost nothing. You get a little bit of ass from both of the male leads. That's about it. There's not really much there. And as I said, if it had been a hotter guy licking that door, I would have dreamt about it afterwards. But no,
Do
it's
you think
not.
there was a pull quote on the DVD or something that's just like, she's the boss?
Oh god, no.
I also bet if we Google and look up the cover of Bikini World or whatever the fuck, it probably also says that.
Probably. All right. Were you thrilled?
No, no, this movie was probably bottom of the thrills that we've seen of any movie. Like, even though there's a handful of murders,
Yeah. There are
like,
murders, but they are so incidental, you never are worried that she's in any danger. Even though he occasionally says threatening things like, you will come to me, or I will just make you mine. But he's not going to. You know it from the beginning that if she says, no, I love Chris, that boring boy, that he's going to be like, okay, I guess I'll go die then. And that's exactly what happens.
yeah, the most brutal kill, I guess, is just him banging that girl's head off the door until she squishes.
Yeah, that's
But
pretty
no,
gnarly.
thrills,
But
I mean, somewhere between 0 and 1.
I mean, if you count the thrill in my pants, it was a 5. If you don't count that, I'm giving it a 1.
I think if we're looking at something like him licking the door did get me to go like, "Oh!" And then, like, it just keeps going. It just goes 60 seconds is so long. Remember when we tried to One Mississippi?
Yeah,
Or was that yeah, that was or wait, no, that was that on this podcast? Yeah, it was.
I don't know.
I think we, like, tried to count one miss oh, it was how long the mom was in the doorway in Arabella, and
Oh,
we're like,
right, you're right. It was so unbearable. That
"You get to 60 Mississippi, you're like, this guy is still licking, he cleaned his fucking plate.
good for him. His mom would be proud.
He gets dessert now." He never gets his dessert, guys.
His mom always told him there's starving vampires in Africa, so you better eat everything on your plate, on your door. I mean, all right, and would you ruin your life for Alyssa Milano?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I would. You know what? I think I would.
You would curl
Um,
up into your little Nosferatu pose and die for the chance to touch those boobies.
sorry, I'm looking at the cover of this bikini magazine and, it does not say she's the boss, so, like, that magazine
Oh,
clearly died for obvious reasons. No, Yeah, I would ruin my life for her. I would it just sucks that the majority of what you get from her is like a series of wet dreams, which is what we already get from having seen this movie now.
Hmm. It is weird that this is the sexiest movie that we've ever watched, and there is no consummation in any of it.
No, you're right. It is the sexiness of this movie is purely just like you're like
Pure blue
everybody
balls.
wants to bang Alyssa Milano and you're like I'm kind of on board. I do
Yeah,
too, I think.
yeah, yeah, and then none of us get to. We we are the vampire. We are the ones shriveling up and dying because we couldn't have Alyssa Milano's virginity.
Damn. That's wild. That's wild. Huh.
So
I'm assuming you're ruining you said it already, right? You're
I'm already
ruining?
ruining my life for
Yeah.
Alyssa Milano, 100%. I would not ruin my life for the goddamn vampire or dumbass Chris. Fuck both those guys, and but not literally. Like, send them out with the trash. Go have Sarah.
Before we get out of here, I know I think I've mentioned this before when we talked about Alyssa Milano, but there's a documentary called I Think We're Alone Now, and it is about two different mentally ill people stalking the pop singer Tiffany. It's a real documentary. It's like an hour long. Used to be on Netflix, like when Netflix first started. Now I think you can just find it on YouTube or something. But this whole movie, it is like a trans woman who's obsessed with Alyssa Milano and like a pretty autistic guy or with Tiffany, I should say, and a pretty autistic guy both stalking her, which is really fun that they filmed all of this.
Fun, but also upsetting.
Oh no, like it played different in college than it does in like 2024. Like in 2024 you're like this
Oh
isn't funny
no.
like it was to me when I was 20 and didn't know anything about mental illness.
Yeah.
Um but at the end of it, the autistic guy is basically like he spends a whole movie stalking her. You hear about him stalking her over the years. He's had restraining orders. He's shown up at the the airport with a katana and six white chrysanthemums because that's the highest honor you can give somebody in Japan, but also a crime at an airport. Um
Yeah, yeah, it is.
and
Yeah.
fun twist to this movie is at the end he goes he's like, I realize I'm never going to be with Tiffany. It's just it's
Mhm.
not going to happen. She has a husband and that's why I'm going to stalk Alyssa Milano now. And he pulls out he's like, here's a cover of this erotic vampire film she was in, and I'm
Oh
happy I finally
no.
got I just love the twist of I know realistically I'll never be with Tiffany, and that's why I'm coming for you, Alyssa.
Oh, that poor thing. Anyway, so I would say that unlike Revenge, I would highly recommend this movie. It is fun. It's not good, but it is sexy. It is good for many, many laughs. I'm sure there's plenty of sexy things and funny things we didn't even cover. It's a goof. It is what it is. Go enjoy it.
Yeah, you can watch this with a group of friends, have some drinks, smoke weed, whatever, laugh,
And then
enjoy, or
yeah,
you can watch it alone later by
yeah.
yourself and just have a midnight boner on the couch.
Enjoy. Whichever way you choose to enjoy this delectable little treat, whether you want to, I don't know, suck on its nipples or lick it off a door.
We all hope to treat our partner like he treated that door. I'll
Don't we?
never, yeah, to be that door. Well, hey everybody, we're releasing this one in October. We're gonna have 3 episodes throughout this month, so we're gonna do a couple other erotic
Theme.
horror themed ones. I think we're gonna do Species. It's still up in the air on a third one, but hey, thank you for listening. Erotic Thriller Club at gmail.com. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, movies you want us to cover, questions for us that you want us to answer on the air, give us a good would you rather. I don't care. We're here for it.
Absolutely.
Erotic or at Erotic Thriller Club on Instagram as well if you want to get in touch with us there. Other than that, Kit, do you have anything to say?
Tell your friends. We love it when people are spreading the word about the podcast. and watch your drinks at parties, and go lick a door. Just try it. See if you like it.
We love you. Thank you for listening. Lick a door. Wet your snails.
God damn
We
it.
want to shake you naked and eat you alive.